You know, some say the Can Am Ryker is a downgrade. I'm here to talk about why it's not a downgrade. It's a totally different fun machine. Let's hop on the bike and talk about it. Alright, welcome back to Blackphoenix Entertainment flock. I have heard this said quite a bit on forums, in person, in comments and videos, that the Can Am Ryker is a downgrade. Now, depending on the context, depends on what is a downgrade from. Usually, it's someone saying, oh, it's a downgrade from a Spyder. Because I went from a 2013 Spyder RS to this 2022 Can Am Ryker Sport. And those were the initial comments I got. They're like, why would you downgrade from a Spyder? You know, Spyders are better, blah, 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 all that stuff. Well, are they? Or are they two completely different machines? And that's what we're going to talk about. So yes, the Spyders are much bigger than the Rykers, much heavier. They tend to have some more options, and they tend to have more luggage capacity and storage than the Rykers do. What the Rykers are targeted for are around town and just kind of like a fun, quick machine that you hop on and just twist the throttle and go. Spyders are more of those long distance, you can call them tours. I toured on the RS, I tour on this thing, so you can tour on anything if you got enough storage and whatever else, whatever other bravery, I guess bravery. But yeah, so I don't understand the concept of looking at it as a downgrade. It's a totally different machine. Sure, they're both trikes. Sure, they, both have big engines in them. Sure, you can, if I'm comparing it to the RS that I have, yeah, they're both quick as hell and can handle pretty well. One of the main reasons why people go to the Rykers is some of the different options to it, and they may not need all the options that the Spyders have for the increase in price that the Spyders are. And that's what I fell into. I was looking at the F3s and just the price creep on Can Am's F3, all their lineups, but the F3s were crazy. They wanted 18 grand for a base model, and I was like, no way, not paying that, because one, I don't just do the base model. I wanted either the special edition or like one of the other editions above that gave me some of the options that I wanted right out of the box, right from the factory, and they just priced me right out of that. And again, for what I was going to be using it for, fun, in the way that only BPE can do with my fun little burnouts and drifting and pulls in Mexico and stuff like that. And then I started looking at the Ryker and test drove the Ryker. I'm like, this does everything that I want it to do, costs less, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. So we get back to the whole concept of downgrading. What is downgrading? What is considered downgrading to a certain point? So I'm going to stick with the Can Am theme here. So the Spyder RT Sea to Sky, the absolute top model that Can Am comes out with. That's the top touring model. Every option you can think of. I think a couple years even came with luggage in the saddlebags and stuff like that. Yeah, that is the top model. So let's say you had a Sea to Sky and you're like, oh, I'm done with the Sea to Sky. And then you traded that Sea to Sky in for a regular Spyder RT. I would consider that a downgrade, because you had an RT, but you had the top level RT with all these options, and you downgraded to a regular RT that doesn't have all those options. That to me is a downgrade. But if you went from a Can Am Spyder Sea to Sky to, let's say, an F3 Limited, because those are still a Spyder, but the F3 is a cruiser and it's got, different options and a little bit more sporty, I would not see that as a downgrade. I would be like, no, you just changed the style of bike that you're riding, a different bike or whatever the case may be. That's how I'm seeing it with my jump from the Spyder RS to the Ryker. The RSs are the older Spyders. They were built, modeled after some sports bikes. Quick, handles great, and obviously they stopped making them. So really at the time my only choice was, do I put more money into this older Spyder or do I buy something new? And again, I looked at the F3s. Can Am just price went through the roof. I was like, nope, can't do it. Started looking at the Rykers, and I compared these Rykers to those older Spyder RSs as far as how they ride, speed, just the fun and all that on there. And they are much more comfortable on longer rides, and that's what sold me on this Ryker. But again, we keep going back to that question. Downgrade. I do not consider this a downgrade. The Spyder RS had the 998 motor. I had it tuned, full exhaust, all that stuff, probably putting over 120 horsepower in its peak performance setup. Yeah, 5-speed semi-automatic. I had some storage and trunk, suspension done, all that stuff. Go to the Ryker. Stock 900 triple 3-cylinder inline motor. From the factory, puts out about 80 horsepower. I've got this thing tuned. I've got the intake. I've got the exhaust. I've got the upgraded factory suspension. All this fun stuff. And now I got someone in front of me. I can't do that much. Plus, I'm taking this turn. So, see, I got way too excited there. But on this turn, I can do this. See? So much fun. Just twist and go. But yeah, so I'm still having the same level of fun on this that I was having on the Spyder. And it's newer, more aftermarket, more parts, availability, and all that fun stuff. I feel like I'm just kind of rambling about stuff, and I'm still doing all the exact same riding on this I did on the Spyder. I took this down to VAM. I know people are like, oh, you can't tour on Rykers, you know, they're just for around town. No, not really. I made this thing do a 2,000 plus road trip, ran into a couple hiccups, but again, no matter what you take, what bike or whatever, when you're doing a trip like that and putting on miles, something's gonna happen at some point. So Flock, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about downgrading on bikes and things like that, or switching from a sports bike to a cruiser, things like that. Do you consider that a downgrade, or do you just consider that like, hey, he just switched the style of bike that he wants to ride? And while you're down there, do all the fun YouTube stuff, do the liking, do the subscribing, do the sharing. And in my description, I got some cool stuff from BLRtuning and Irontide Customs. I'm selling Blackphoenix merchandise that you can get to help support the channel. And I'm still selling the Blackphoenix hats. Whenever they're gone, they're gone. Whatever I have left in stock, you guys can get. That money and the money donated through my Ko-fi page goes to Moby Kit Rescue to help save the kittens. With all that being said, thank you for rocking with the flock. I'll see you guys on the next video.